How we doing, YouTube? It's your friendly gamer, SmartEntity here. Welcome to episode 4A of my specialized build. 4A, A4 again, because I'm going to do Trinity again. Today is sort of day 1 of the Trinity nerf or change. So for those that don't know, a few hours ago, the developers released a new update where Trinity got completely changed. So basically the goal here is to do a 60 plus, hopefully 80 plus T3 survival to basically show off how the new Trinity is. So I'm gonna jump back here once we reach the 60 minute, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, welcome back. So we're just at the 37 mark here. I want to record a bit of gameplay here because enemy level here are quite helpful in terms of showing off some of sort of Trinity's changes. So I won't talk much now, I'll just do a bit of gameplay. I will discuss this a bit later on. Alright guys, I think I'll jump out now. I'll see you guys again a bit. Hopefully at about 60 minutes or so. Alright guys, welcome back. So we're nearly at the 60 minute mark. Basically I'm doing different segments because each segment I am doing a slightly different gameplay, and I will discuss that later on. So yeah, enjoy the gameplay.
The longer you fight, the more successful you will be.
Alright guys, I think I'll pause it again. Hopefully I'll see you guys in about the 80-minute mark. I'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, so we're nearly at the 80-minute mark. I think from this point forward I will just record the rest of the gameplay. Basically, at this point, the enemies are extremely hard, and without Trinity's blessing, everyone is extremely fragile. We will have enough life support here to reach us to 80 minutes, and afterwards we're just going to extract. We do have active life support out on the map, but at this stage it's just too risky going out to get them. So yeah, I mean, enemies right now, just not dying. You really need, molecular prime plus a solid antimatter drop to get anywhere.
They could not do this without you.
Yeah guys, so that's T3 survival, 80 minute plus, post Trinity nerf.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
And by the way, we did get 2 Rhino Prime chassis. The one we got at 20 minutes not showing. So yeah, that's something new. 2 Rhino Prime chassis in one game. And just as bit of a proof, so here update 13.3.0 was up 13 hours ago. And I mean, of course, in the gameplay you could clearly see that Trinity nerf was already in place. Alright guys, I'll jump into the build real soon. Alright guys, so now let's jump into the build. So basically, if you have a look, there's some similarities and some changes. Similarities between this and the old builders: you are still using blessing, you are still using link. Now, like I was saying initially, some people will call this a nerf, but to be honest, it's really a change, because Trinity is weaker, but they didn't really just make this ability weaker, they completely changed it, so much so to the extent that your entire modding of Trinity have to change. You're basically using a completely new build. Before you were based on a duration build, now you actually want an anti-duration build. So let me explain that a bit further. So Link and Blessing is still in place, and what I've done is I've added in fleeting expertise. Now obviously the power efficiency is always useful, but this decrease in power duration is actually a benefit. And the reason for that is, if you have a look previously at my playthrough around the sort of 37-ish minute, I was literally casting Blessing every 6 seconds continuously. So the reasoning for that is basically the developers, took away that 100% invulnerability, right? When you are fighting at a 80-minute plus T3 survival, it literally takes less than a second for a enemy such as a heavy gunner to kill you. And usually in a survival, you are actually surrounded by 5, 8, 20 enemies, right? So it really takes nothing for them to kill you. So it's not feasible to try to activate Blessing when you're at the sort of 20-10% health, right? Because chances are, you go from 80% health to 0% health. So you use fleeting expertise to decrease that duration. Now with this, you can decrease that down to 6 seconds. And my way of playing Trinity now is just to cast Blessing continuously, right? Every 6 seconds, cast Blessing. So even though I won't have that constant invulnerability, I will have that almost constant full heal. It's not as strong as before, but it's definitely a good compromise. Streamline in there for that additional efficiency. Natural talent for that casting speed, because like I was saying, it takes less than a second for a group of enemies to kill you, so that casting speed actually do help at times. Now a new addition to the build is Energy Vampire and Intensify. So with Energy Vampire and Intensify, a single cast of Energy Vampire will guaranteed give you more energy than you used if you kill the enemy. So this will allow you to have infinite energy. Some could argue you don't even need flow in there now, and that is true. I personally still put flow in there because sometimes, especially when you do a bit of channeling melee, having a bit of an energy bank is not a bad thing. Now before anyone criticize, yes, I do know there is a cap of 75% efficiency, but I have more than enough mod points, so I put in a full fleeting expertise and a full streamline. And in this occasion, there's no point using a less than optimal fleeting expertise because a decreasing duration actually helps. If there is a mod that allows me to decrease, duration by another 30%, I'll put that on as well, probably instead of flow. Now, redirection and vitality. Now, given that Trinity don't have that sort of gold mode invincibility, you definitely do want that buffer. And having some like vitality in there is a little bit helpful with a new blessing ability, because blessing is more effective the lower the percentage of your health. So if you have a vitality in there, when you add a low percentage, you have a higher absolute value of health. So that allow you to have a slight more sort of leeway buffer in terms of optimizing blessing. Alright guys, so this is the build. You've seen the proof. It is still very possible to reach 80-minute plus T3 survival, even with a nerf Trinity. This is a build that's gonna get you there. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.